Good morning. Oh, what a morning. I wanted to come online today and just have a bit of a chat because I've just finished, a little bit later in the day than normal, my morning ritual. So I'm going to wait and see if anyone is going to be able to jump on live with me because it's always fun to talk together. So I have my coffee this morning, which is great. I went and got some beautiful organic ground coffee from the organic shop at the end of the road, and it actually is just delicious. It's the smoothest coffee I've had, and I've struggled with coffee, for those of you that know me, since we left Wellington to find a really lovely coffee. And I'm actually having this one black today because it doesn't need anything. It's just so delicious. Oh, which is great. So hi, somebody is able to make it. So say hi and let me know that you are on live with me. It'd be so lovely to have a chat this morning. Oh. So it is a lot later for me to start my mindfulness ritual, but it seems at the moment that I need to be up in the middle of the night because last night we had a fire alarm in the building. So we were all woken up at 2 o'clock being told to evacuate. Needless to say, it did mean that when we did get back to bed, everyone slept in till just after 6, which is unheard of. So I'm quite grateful. David and I were laughing this morning thinking that we might actually go about waking the children up at 2 in the morning to see if they'll sleep longer going forwards. Anyway, so this morning, as you know, I always do my mindfulness rituals in the morning and at night. And when you come on live, say hi, let me know that you are there and let me talk to you. I want to be interactive today. I'm feeling, I want to talk. So, doing my morning ritual this morning, nice and quickly, grabbing my coffee, really taking my time to get into it. And I was in meditation, which I just do for as long as I need to or I want to, depending on what's coming through. And normally I find myself getting fidgety. I find myself at the end of my meditations, I find myself getting itchy. I want to start moving my body and I want to start actioning the information that I've been processing. So this morning I did things a little bit differently. So in the evenings I write my list of what I'm doing the day before. It's usually a little bit before the evenings at the end of my day to manage my transitions from business into and coach into mum. So today I was going through my list and I know that I've got some things to do, and usually on Thursdays and Fridays I know I start feeling agitated because I've only got 2 days left to work on my business before the weekend when I have to take 2 days off. And I say have to because when you love what you do, hey Michelle, it's good to have you on. Hi, thank you so much for joining me. I'm feeling really interactive, so if you've got any queries or questions, just fire them through and we can actually talk, which will be just lovely. So this morning when I was doing my meditation, which was a little bit different, I was going through all the things that I wanted to do today and tomorrow and really prioritizing in my mind, sifting through like the papers that I need to look at and the work that I want to action and the tasks that I need to complete because they have a deadline. And I noticed that at certain points when I was sifting through the information that I was working on, prioritizing for my day to feel what I wanted to start with, some of it felt really heavy and some of it felt really light. And I thought that was a different experience to have. I haven't had that before. So I was like, okay, so some of this information, some of these tasks, some of these objectives, goals that I've set myself, that when I set them, I felt really excited about. And now this morning I'm going through and I'm feeling as though they're weighing me down. I'm feeling as though they're heavy. They feel really heavy, like in my body, in my mind, when I'm processing them, they just feel thick and clunky. So with that information, I went a little bit deeper because when you start noticing and you're in those moments where you can feel, okay, the energy, the thought process, the expectation around these is light, it's heavy, it's non-existent, whatever it might be. You start to notice how that's, I guess, translated into what you're doing, into what you're thinking, into what you're saying. And for me this morning, the feeling of heaviness was really around my head. So I was like, okay, that's very interesting. So I'm feeling the pressure. I can translate it into what it is. I'm feeling the pressure, the heaviness of achieving this particular goal. Why? And then I could go through the process of what it was. And at the end of it was because I've got a deadline, and it's not my deadline, it's somebody else's. So I'm working to the deadline of someone else's, and that's got me feeling pressured. So when I'm sifting through in my meditation how I'm going to work today and what I'm going to prioritize first, these two things that I know I want to do and I signed up to do because I wanted to do them and they made me feel excited, and now feeling heavy because I've got 2 days left to do them before the weekend, and that feels time restricted. That feels as though I'm not going to get it done. That feels as though there's pressure on me externally, and I want to meet the expectation of enjoying this process. So for me, that was really interesting because a lot of that is not my doing, you know, and I normally set my own deadlines and I normally set my own expectations. And to have that filter through today to actually physically affect and mentally affect and interrupt the calm of my meditation through heaviness and pressure was interesting. So having gone deeper and knowing the reason behind that now for me, I can work with that. Like, it's logical, it makes sense. I'm feeling pressured because of the expectations of somebody else, not because they've put an expectation on me, because I've agreed to something, and now I'm finding it's Thursday morning, having had a week of being hijacked and sabotaged in my normal routine, that I feel under pressure. And it's an interesting place to be because there's nothing I can do about time in the linear sense. However, I know that when I think about achieving these two pieces of work, and I really want to define work. I want another word for work because work always feels as though it's something you don't want to do. It seems to have a society connotation now where work is, just that thing you have to do in order to live. And I don't like that. Anyway, side note. So if anyone can think of a better word for work, let me know because I am desperately trying to find it that aligns with more of what I think I'm doing and feeling into. So what this tells me, knowing myself and knowing my personality and knowing my day, I need to prioritize these things in my day. I need to take action with them because something in them is no longer feeling light and easy. So I'm feeling as though they need to be the first things that I action, and I'm going to look at the time frames around them, and I'm going to look at what it is that no longer feels right about it, or what no longer feels light and easy for me. Am I literally being dictated to by my overall work week and my schedule, or am I feeling blocked from being able to produce the information and the outcome that I truly feel will be resonant with where I was when I first signed up to this? So Michelle, you're saying yes, it's the day for it. I have so much to do for clients. I feel like I'm chasing my tail. Yes, I understand. I think it gets to that point in the week where it's Thursday, Friday, and it's, you know, we're so focused on what does that mean? How am I going to get everything done that I wanted to achieve? Whereas Monday and Tuesday, we feel as though we've still got the majority of the week left. But once that Wednesday hits, if we're working in a 5-day block week, it does feel as though you become restricted and constricted with time, and the weight of responsibility to make sure that you meet everyone's needs is kind of up there. And I actually did, check in with myself about doing a live this morning and spending time doing that. But it feels really important for me to talk about these things and share these natural occurrences, especially when they can be so beneficial to helping other people weave through these natural urges, these natural roadblocks that we come up against, these natural thought patterns that we all face, and think about a way through them so that it doesn't become overwhelming, or we don't feel as though all of a sudden we've overcommitted ourselves, when originally taking on these assignments doesn't feel overwhelming. It feels as though we have time, but it's chipping away at it a little bit at a time. Now, for those of you that work with me, you know that I batch. I spend a day doing all my videos, or I spend a day working on my accelerator program, or I spend a day, doing blogs, or hey, Hannah, thank you so much for joining me. So batching becomes really, really important. And on a day like today, where I would have ordinarily batched my work, I'm now feeling as though I actually have to interrupt that flow and do it differently, because I really want to meet these deadlines and these expectations, and I want to do it with the best possible outcome for myself, so that I feel really confident, really happy, really aligned with that. Hey Hannah, so just talking about, feel free to interact and ask me questions and share your genius around this as well, because today I'm talking about the lightness and the heaviness of my priorities, what I need to get done at the end of the week, because it came up for me in my morning meditation and my ritual this morning. And it was a different approach, a different experience, and a different feeling that I had. So it was interesting to share that with you all this morning, to let you know how I process my morning rituals and how I then plan and prioritize my day. Because I don't believe in having my day led by anyone else other than me. I think that as long as I feel in control and I feel fully aware and aligned of where my emotions are coming from and why I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling, I can logically understand the factors, each one of them, and how they're impacting and influencing me. And from that, I can choose and decide what I allow to influence me and how I want that to then follow through in my day. Because if I get led by someone else's schedule, if I get led by an expectation of somebody else that I haven't fully bought into and feel that it aligns with what I want to do and need to do, it's going to feel heavy. But if I'm feeling tight for time, or it's going to feel as though I have to release the resistance before I can begin to get creative, then it doesn't just, hey Trudy, nice to see you this morning, thank you for joining me. It doesn't feel as easy to get there, and I like my days to feel easy in that way. So taking the time this morning to really, interrogate my feelings, my emotions, my thought processes, the weight of what I'm doing and why, and how that fits into how I schedule my week and why I'm feeling it particularly overwhelmingly today. For a lot of you, I follow the moon cycle, so I know that for the next couple of days, it is a hard integration process, from going from my new moon intention setting all the way through to now, where it normally gets a little bit challenging. And it's my choice if I choose to do the aligned action that gets me to where I wanted to be when I set my intentions, so that I tell the universe and I tell myself intrinsically that I am still working towards that vision. That is still my alignment, and that I'm willing to work through these challenges and processes where they seem logical, where I can understand them, where I can appreciate the resistance that's coming through from me and why. So Michelle, you're saying, I think it's where I've struggled, moving between counselling and retail as a real process. Yes, and I use transition moments. This is where I've said that I've adapted my morning and evening rituals to enable me to transition from coach and business owner, which I get my creative on, I absolutely love it, I feel in my zone, to having to go get dinner ready for the kids, put the washing on, collect them from school and daycare. And that can sometimes be a really hard transition, because when I come home with them and they're in quiet time, I'm like, right, I can get a bit of work done. And I'm pulling back from doing that, because if I have a ritual that gets me from one zone of genius into another, and I honour that, I can really enjoy each aspect of the roles that I'm living in when I'm living in them. So transition moments, I do this with a lot of clients, and it really does help. So for me, at the end of my working day, I plan my following day. I see the pockets of time that I have available to do the small incremental tasks that will get me to where I need to be, but also to really know what I need to focus on as my must-dos the following day. And as long as I have that plan, I work through that to be able to really achieve, in a longer phase, the overall objectives, but staying true to that undercurrent of why am I doing this? What is this leading towards? So having that bigger plan, a quarterly vision cast as well, really, really helps. Hannah, you love that idea of transition moments. Yeah, it's really, I find it really important, especially when we're living such busy lives, and we do have so many roles, to play. Lots of different characteristics that come through more for us in certain areas. I'm much more bossy when I'm in mum mode. I'm definitely not bossy in coach mode. So being able to really play to your strengths in the different roles that you're working in gives you that ability to really harness those skills, which is why I love the mindset pathway, because it allows you at any point during your day, it doesn't just have to be morning and evening, to really focus on what am I bringing to my day now? What in this particular role, in this particular aspect, use your creativity. What am I bringing to my day now? Who do I need to be now? What is it that I want to give now? How can I be my best self now? And that's a really nice way of being able to transition from one thing to another thing. And the batching stops you having to do it too often, so that you don't have to get into one particular flow to be disrupted and disconnected into another. But it does become easier when you create these neural pathways in your brain that say, this is how I do this. This is how I manage a transition. This is how I recognize and own those transitions. I'm just trying to read your messages, Michelle. I've begun taking paperwork home to do, especially accounts that I'm not putting off important things, and I'm not leaving our customers to do menial work. Yeah, I hear you. Sorry, I'm not trying to put my finger over the camera there. I remember in the 7-day business live chat that you were talking on day 3, and then your mummy voice came out. It was like, yeah. Yes, mummy voice did come out. That was quite fun actually to do that, because I remember talking to the kids, and it was the day that David had food poisoning, 2 days before I had the food poisoning, and Liam, poor love him, had the food poisoning. Anyway, and I'd said to Max, I said, mummy does have to do some work, and I feel really compelled to do it now. So how would you feel about me taking some time to talk to some people? And he was like, yep, that's fine. I'm playing. It's all good. And it was really, really interesting how he then got really hooked into being, wanting the attention and being really, really intrigued into that. But at the same time, I had to manage, both roles at the same time. But it's nice because that's life. And these things do interrupt us. You'll be doing one thing and all of a sudden you have a phone call about something else where someone needs you to be in a different space and a different zone. And sometimes it's okay actually to turn around and say, I hear everything that you're saying, I understand everything that's going on, I'm just going to take some time to process that. And I do have a lot of clients who contact me throughout their programs, which I do encourage, to tell me what's going on. And I'm not afraid to turn around and say, okay, I'm reading all of this, I hear what you're saying, I've heard your voice note, I understand, I now need to go away and process this. I now need to go away and actually think about how that fits in with the rest of your story, the rest of the program, the rest of your understanding, in order to be able to give you what you're looking for from a space that feels as though I'm in that zone for you. So I don't worry about saying I'm going to come back to you on that, because that is far better than trying to force something that is not going to come in the right way for everyone's highest good. So anyway, I feel like I'm going on many tangents now, and we're talking about lots of different things. But yeah, ask yourself in your morning rituals, what feels, does this feel heavy? Does this feel light? Why does it feel heavy and why does it feel light? More often than not, we go for the light options and we want to action those. And that's not always the right answer for us. Sometimes we have to face the heavy things and understand why they're making us feel as though they are heavy. The heaviness doesn't have to be because it's not right. The heaviness can be a myriad of factors and aspects that feel as though we are potentially out of control or potentially being sabotaged, and we're not. It's just that it's not the circumstances that would best fit our ideal situation. And that's really interesting, because not everything is always going to go our way, and we know that very well. But facing it and understanding that it might not be the ideal conditions that we want, but we still need to honor our duty and our alignment and the challenge that we're facing to still do the work that we know we need to do. And this is why in my mindset pathway I always say, do that thing that you're procrastinating over. This is a different form of feeling procrastination, but do the thing that feels as though once you've completed it, you're going to feel pleased with yourself. Once you've done it, or even if you've started it, you're going to feel as though the weight, the heaviness is actually being lifted, because it is something that you know you need to do. Otherwise it wouldn't be on your list of priorities or goals. So I think that's a really nice way of shifting through that heaviness and that lightness, and not always deciding to choose the light option because it seems easy, because it seems fun, because we allow our creativity to come through. I think it's about, this morning is just knuckling. For me, I know it's knuckling down and it's actually tackling this. And I can tackle it in a lot of different ways, but I have to make a start and I have to commit to myself to do that, because that's going to be in my best interests. It's going to honor a commitment that I've made, which makes me feel good. And I still have 2 days. I don't have to be bound into this feeling that time is running out, because it isn't. I've got plenty of time. I've got all of today and I've got all of tomorrow, and I've got things that will fit in between that, but that's okay, because I'll need a break. I can't focus on this 100% to get it done by a time. And I know that when I start and I get into aligned action, I make that commitment to myself, it will flow in a way that feels right. But it does feel a bit scary at the moment. It feels a bit off-putting. It feels as though nothing is going to come forward for this particular task. And that's the challenge. The challenge is not buying into that particular story. The challenge is not allowing those feelings from the aspects of the rest of my day to impact my choice and my decision for the right result for me. So that's a different way of looking at things when they're light and when they're heavy, and how I have chosen to interpret this morning, knowing and assessing all of those particular influences and aspects to the rest of my day, and really honouring my original choices and realigning with those, and tapping into the excitement that I felt when I committed to doing this. Tapping into the the fun and the lightheartedness that originally came with this commitment. So it no longer needs to feel heavy. It just needs to be actioned, and I can do that. I've got time. So I hope this is something that can help you in your morning rituals. I hope this is something that you can resonate with and feel into what's light and what's heavy, and why. Follow that trail, follow the story that you're telling yourself, follow the feelings that are lingering through the emotions that you've explored, and that are coming through for you when you think about these tasks. And I guess cut the cords to the ones that are misrepresenting the expression that you want to have attached to this particular task. That's a good way of releasing and letting go of that which is no longer serving you when it comes to following through on things, when the when the situation no longer seems perfect, when the situation now feels slightly restricted, and time might just be one of those factors. So that is this morning's nugget from my morning ritual and my meditation. And I am going to wish you an amazing Thursday. If you haven't already signed up for the 7-day accountability challenge, I cannot urge you enough. This is the kind of stuff that's going to be coming through. This is the kind of stuff that you can actually start to work on for yourself. This isn't your mindfulness in its purest form. This is mindfulness from my experience. This is mindfulness that I've put together, stuff that works for me and why it works for me, and that I'm passionate about other people trying, because I've seen so many of my clients have such success through this, and I got an email the other day from a client who I'd worked with a while back, and he'd worked through my mindset pathway, and he had worked with me, and he had lots of mindfulness techniques. And I always keep in touch with my clients, but I'd had an email from him saying, I'm still using this. I'm still using all this stuff that you gave me, Alison. It makes such a difference. It comes easier these days, but I still need it. I still rely on it. I still use it because it helps me. It supports me in everything that I'm doing. And that was just an incredible email to get, to know that this isn't just a 7-day challenge. This is a choice that you make to sign up, to try something, to see if it will support you and help you in living a fuller life, a life that you love and deserve. And mindfulness brings with it clarity. That's what we've just been talking about. My thought processes through the stages of me thinking through what it is that I want to achieve, why I wanted to achieve it, why was I even on this path in the first place, and really interrogating those that logic thought. So it's really, that's where clarity comes. That's where clarity comes. And then at the end of this, I'm going to have those feelings of success. I know that it's going to be great because I'm going to put the work in. I'm going to do what I need to do to get what I want, in order to give me the outcome that I'm striving for, So the 7-day accountability challenge is going to be so beneficial. If you already have a morning ritual and you're thinking that this is going to be, it won't enhance it in any way, it will. Try. Even if it's the community, even if it's the fact that we're all doing it together, even if it is that you're feeling too busy, too overwhelmed, too overcommitted, too overstretched. It's school holidays apparently in New Zealand next week. So for those of you from New Zealand, that might be the reason that you're thinking you can't do this. Wrong. If you can do this on a day when you feel stretched, when you feel busy, when you feel overwhelmed, then you can do it all the other days. This then becomes the easiest way of implementing, because you see that it supports you when you're feeling something of the most challenging, the most difficult, the most stressed, or the least time rich. You will then be able to do it the other times. So give yourself this gift. Join me in the 7-day accountability challenge. Let's get your mindful on. I am so excited to do this challenge again. I know that there's going to be some amazing results. And this will enhance any morning ritual, any evening ritual, and just give you other tools to use and a different perspective of using them and looking at them. So yay. For those of you that were on live with me, thank you so much for joining me. It's so lovely to have been able to interact with you today. So thank you so much for your comments. And for those of you that are team replay, hashtag team replay as always, and let me know that you watched and let me know what came through for you, what really resonated, what you liked, what you want more information on. I am here to support you and help you with life, with career, with business. This is what we are consciously creating, a life that we love and deserve, and I want that for you. So any way that I can support you in that, drop me a comment below and let me know. Much love, have an amazing Thursday, and remember, if you've got any offers or amazing things going on in your life, your business or your career that you want to share, today is Collab and Social Share Thursday, so the post will be coming out shortly. Make sure you get in there and start engaging and sharing all of your good stuff. I want to see you guys shine. Have a great Thursday. Bye.